In this video, we are going to talk about the AutoComplete Entry list box. It's a list box with an autocomplete feature. This is part of the ttkwidgets library. To install the library, just run pip install ttkwidgets, and we are running this example from the examples folder from the library GitHub repository. When you run the example, you get this. So we have a label and the entry or the autocomplete entry list box. I only changed the font of the autocomplete entry list box. So automatically the lists and the entry font were changed, and also changed the font of the label. To use the autocomplete entry list box, just import it from ttkwidgets.autocomplete, then call autocomplete entry list box. Now the values that you are going to use for your autocomplete list box is complete values. So you initialize your list with this property. So when I will write anything, it will get completed from this list. For example, if I run G for geometry, so it's automatically completed to geometry because it's part of the attributes of window recuperated using the call of dir. So now I'm going to write, and my word gets auto completed using the values from this list. Now if I wrote something else that is not in the list, we can see that it's not completed, and this is due because of an attribute when you create the autocomplete entry list box. Now we are going to see the list of attributes that you can pass when you create the entry list box. You have the master, the complete values to use to complete your autocomplete entry list box. Allow other values, whether or not to allow other values. Apparently the default is false, so I'm going to set it to true. So here, allow other values. Well, again, or run the code again. I'm going to write what I've written previously. Now you can see that I was able to add words or write words that were not in the list. The other attributes, the width in characters, export selection, whether or not to automatically export selected text. It's an attribute that already exists in the list box. It will be simply passed to the list box composing this widget. So if you set export selection to true, this is what you will get. So when you click, if it's set to true, you click on the items, you do not get this selection or this blue color of the selection. Now if I set it to false, this is what I will get, or this is what you will get. According to the documentation of the listbox widget, the user may select the text with the mouse, and the selected text will be exported to the clipboard. To disable this behavior, they say you set it to 0. The other parameters, we have justify for the justification of the text in the entry box and in the list box. So I'm going to say justify to center. So we have the text justified to the center. Font attribute we've already used, and the auto hide scroll bar, whether to use the auto hide scroll bar widget from the ttkwidget library, this one, or to use a regular scroll bar. So we've already talked about the auto hide scroll bar in this video and in other ones, but I'm going to test it or try it right now. I'm going to set auto hide scroll bar set to true, which means I want to use the auto hide scroll bar. First, we are going to set the auto-hide scroll bar to false and get only the 5 first elements of the list for autocomplete values. So we have the list and we have a scroll bar visible, but if I use or I set auto-hide scroll bar to true, which means I will use the auto-hide scroll bar widget, and I run again, we can see that the scroll bar, it's not displayed, it's not used because it's not necessary. To get the value of the entry list box, you call the get method. Here I'm using in the command property the lambda function to call print with entry.get. So I'm going to call or run the code again. So if I do this and print get the value, it prints the selected value. Now if I remove this limitation, means I'm going to get all the values of the list box. Example, get the value. Now if I write something that doesn't exist, get the value, it got me that value. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.